Hi, I'm LaRocco, author of Thriving in the New Economy and senior talent producer at CNBC, and you're watching MarketHeist.com.
Well, I have a question from someone on Twitter. They want to stay anonymous, but here's the question. Okay.
Okay.
How do you find the guests and contributors, and what's the criteria for becoming a regular guest? Because you fill a lot of spots every single day, and that is a tough job just to track them down.
You know, it is and it isn't. I read, goodness, about four or five newspapers every morning, and I scour a lot of different websites and magazines. So I'm always looking for like the next big guest. One day it was the dog days of summer, and I turned to my boss and I said, I want to do a show where I get 13 billionaires that have never done CNBC before.
Oh,
So he looked at me and he's like, all right, fine, go try and do it. And I did. So, I just get like these wild hairs, if you will. And I'm always trying to find, interesting people. Like on Monday on Squawk Box, I've got Lord Monkton on, who, as you know, is like he's world renowned in terms of global climate change. He's again, he doesn't believe that there is global climate change, but he's very harsh right now on the administration and what's going on with the moratorium down south when it comes to the drilling. So I try to get interesting people on, people that will get you emotional,
yeah,
not like a flamethrower, but I want people so you could talk about it. So like when after you watch my show, you might Twitter it, hey, did you
hmm
see this or check this out?
yeah.
So I'm always looking for people that might have you go, I didn't think about that. So I'm always reading and, I talk to CEOs. Who do you think I should have on? They're my viewer.
Yeah.
I always ask CEOs, who do you think I should get on? What's a story that we're not covering right now?
hmm
And I just did that with Alan Greenspan, with Chairman Greenspan. I was in DC 2 weeks ago. We had the former chairman on
hmm
for an hour. And after the show, he said something, and it was kind of funny because he said something on air, and he said, "I know several economists out there who always get it right." So I was like, "Ooh, I want to get these people on TV," because when we all want to know who these people are.
Yeah.
So I
Why
was
is he
talking to
keeping it to
the chairman.
himself?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm walking the chairman out, and he's a very, very nice guy. And I was like, Mr. Chairman, I have a question for you about something that you said on air. And so he's like, oh, really? And he's probably thinking I'm going to ask some economic question. So I was like, Mr. Chairman, you said you know several economists out there that never get anything wrong. Who are they? I'd like to get them on Squawk Box. So he looked at me and smiled and he chuckled and he's like, I'm sorry, I can't tell you. And I'm like, well, why not? And he's like, they don't like to do TV. And I said, are you putting them in the vault? And Chairman Greenspan chuckled and he's like, I am putting them in the vault. So then I said, okay, well, let me ask you this. I'm like, what's the topic? What's the topic out there
hmm
that that we're not doing that we should be doing? So then he chuckled and he says, I can't tell you because that'll give you the answer to number one. So I said, well, finally, what do you think we should be covering? And he was talking about China and the complexity of the capital markets.
Right.
And based on that conversation, I put together a 20-minute special a week later. So I never feel like less worthy or scared in approaching somebody. Like even a former Federal Reserve chairman, I'll ask them, what do you think we should be covering? Because we're not the end all be all. And once you think that, you
hmm
kind of jump the shark. So I always ask people, who should I be talking to? What are the topics we should be talking about?
I mean, you talk to a lot of people, both in business and your neighbors, your kids' parents. What questions are people asking you the most often that's probably not correct, and what do you think they should be asking, or what do you think they should be thinking? Sort of like what you asked Alan Greenspan.
I've got a lot of people asking me like, where should I put my money now to make money,
hmm
like right now?
Yeah.
And I kind of look at them, crazy. The days of the trading, the flipping up and down. I mean, it's over. Unless you're sitting there, you're going to go insane like every 30 seconds, to make a dollar.
Hmm.
You have to have a time horizon. I mean, Jack Bogle of Vanguard is dead on when he says that, based on your age, you should have a good limit between like stocks and bonds. And of course, the older you get, the more bonds you should have to be more conservative.
Right.
So, based on like how aggressive you want to be. But for any investor to think that they're going to make a killing in a short period of
Hmm.
time, it's not going to happen. I mean, look at the markets right now.
Yeah.
You're not. So I would be like what I just advise people is saying, how long do you want to hold on to that stock? What are you interested in? What do you understand? So I try to bring it back to again, what do you know? And I know a lot of girls that know shopping, or
Right.
they've got a couple of teenagers. So in terms of retail space, they'll they know more retail say than autos.
Mm.
So a lot of people ask me that, but a lot of people ask me about jobs, about my outlook on jobs,
Yeah.
and
That's probably what's closest to their hearts.
exactly, people are scared of losing their jobs. Let's face it, it's not pretty out there
Or they're working
every
two or three
day.
jobs, you know?
Yeah, people are underemployed. We've got people working 2 to 3 jobs. The real unemployment number is what I like to talk to with my CEOs out there. The real unemployment number, as you know, are the people that are the underemployed, the people that gave up looking. The
Yeah.
number that we get every month doesn't include people that have been out of work for 26 plus weeks,
Right. Or part-timers.
or the part timers, the people that are working the 2 or 3 jobs. I mean, Wilbur Ross and I have been, we talk about this all the time. The real unemployment number is double digits. And, Mark Zandi, we had him on, this past, jobs number, and, he's on every month. He said last time he was on that the jobs number, he's anticipating 10%, the government number,
Mhm.
10% in September.
Wow.
And when I was in Kalamazoo, Michigan, I was giving a speech for my book, and a woman raised her hand because, I take questions from the audience, and the woman started crying hysterical, asking me, why doesn't the government understand in terms of small business, in terms of people losing their jobs? And I felt horrible for this woman. And she was like, when is it going to get better? And she's like, the numbers are getting better. And I was like, well, I don't want to get you upset, but the numbers are getting better because of the temporary census hiring. So let's see the real numbers in July and
Yeah.
August. And we all see what the numbers are. They're not getting there. So we need to find ways that businesses are not being incentivized to employ people right now.
Yeah.
And it's very, very scary. And that's like the number one question people always ask me. And that's the number one question that I ask all my CEOs. Where do you see jobs?
Lori, and I think we're running a little short on time with YouTube's probably going to cut us off. So
Okay.
uh, if people want to get in touch with you or learn more about you, uh, where should they go?
They can go to Twitter, which is at Lorianne LaRocco. I also have a blog on WordPress, but you can get that link off of Twitter, and then of course I have Facebook. So I'm pretty readily available. I also have a wiki page, which has a quick snapshot of who I am, and
All right,
I'm
great. I
there.
think a lot of people will be interested in talking to you. So we'll have Lori on again for Heist Labs in part two of this interview. We'll chat with Lori Ann about her book, Thriving in the New Economy, which I think will help a lot of people get up to speed about the financial crisis it went through, what a lot of the CEOs went through, and the expertise of some of the regular guests she gets on CNBC. So stay tuned for that.